Hey, welcome back to my channel. I apologize, this summer has been so busy. I have not posted nearly as much as I anticipated, but today I want to share some summer homemaking. We commit to a garden usually, of course, in the spring and the summer, and it's a very busy season. But I love those garden to table meals. I love the time in the garden. And even though the garden starts to go absolutely crazy in August and it's quite a bit of upkeep and commitment, I always enjoy the garden to table meals that we enjoy this time of the year and also processing our harvest. So there's lots of different things that we need to do, including freezing and canning and processing what we have harvested. So not just enjoying those garden to table meals, but really making sure we are spending the time processing that. So today I am making a beautiful breakfast that I have been craving with what we grew in the garden. Also, I am making some blackberry jam because we had so many blackberries this season. And I am just doing some general homemaking around the house, which I typically do on the weekends. So today I'm going to share a farewell to summer homemaking because yes, only a few more weeks left in the summer before it's time to turn over the garden. If we plan to do a fall garden, which I'm not sure that we are this year. We have other things that we want to focus on in the fall, but maybe next year. The garden is a lot, so it's just kind of one of those decisions you have to make and commit to it. But first thing in the morning, letting the chickens out. Today I need to tackle cleaning out the chicken coop for fall.
Little Miss Fruity. Can I feel your eggs? Come on.
We just came back from our summer vacation a week at the lake before we started our new school year, and definitely being away from the garden for a week, the garden goes crazy. So you can see the wildflower garden is absolutely going crazy, and these are zinnias. They are cut and come again. So the more you cut them, the more they grow, but look at how many there are, and I really wanted to come in and just cut a bunch and bring them in the house because they are beautiful inside and outside. Here in Tennessee, if you plant zinnias, they are prolific in the summer months. So they always remind me of summer. They're really easy to grow out here, and they're just so pretty. In the big garden, we have tomatoes and peppers and potatoes and green beans coming out of our ears. So we pretty much have to come out every single day and harvest. And the tomato plant itself goes absolutely crazy that I have to trim it back quite a bit. Now, if you were excellent at propagating, you could have endless amounts of tomatoes if you had all the room for them. But I do have to trim, otherwise they will literally fall over and end up on the ground. So pretty much every day, one of us has to come out and take care of the garden. And here you can see that I'm trimming back the tomatoes. We typically use straw to mulch. A lot of people don't like to use straw because it's definitely prettier to use like wood mulch, or some people even use stones, but essentially mulch is a protective layer of organic or inorganic material applied over the top of soil to conserve moisture, suppress weeds, and moderate soil temperatures. In this case, on the floor of our garden, it's to prevent weeds. And you can see here the tomato plant is absolutely falling over, so I had to trim it back. This is all going to go in the compost, but I am of course going to harvest any tomatoes that are still on the vine. And even if they're not ripe, tomatoes can ripen off vine, so I'm just going to harvest those. And then I'm going to continue working on the weeds with this solution of vinegar, salt, and water. And I'm just going to spray this along the edges of the garden beds to prevent the weeds. And the next few weeks here, we're going to put the garden to bed for the fall, or we would pull and start a fall garden if we were planning to do a fall garden, but we're late. I did not get the pumpkins in the ground in time, unfortunately. I would have had to do that in July, so maybe next year. Of course, we have so many tomatoes that we have plenty to share with our farm friends, including the chickens. But I'm going to take any of the clippings from the garden over to the compost. A compost will be dark, crumbly, and nutrient-rich organic matter created when microorganisms break down yard waste, food scraps, over time, and as you turn the big pile, the compost, you will eventually have beautiful soil to use again in the garden. I'm also doing some housekeeping today for the chickens, and as you can tell, they always come and watch because they want to know what I'm up to. I'm cleaning out their coop for the fall, so I'm pulling out all of their bedding. This is where they lay their eggs, this is where they sleep, and of course, this is where they poop. So I use straw for their bedding. I come in and clean this out. I do like to cover my face. If you're being extra cautious, you might even want to use an N95 mask because you could breathe in particles. It's not great for your lungs. So I, at minimum, cover my face. And then I bring that over to the compost as well. Now I'm just kind of adding that on top of the pile, but I'm going to have to come and turn the compost, really mix everything together. But composting chicken manure transforms a high nitrogen waste product into nutrient-rich black gold that supercharges garden soil and plant health. So it's packed with high levels of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium. So it feeds plants a steady stream of macro and micronutrients over time rather than all at once. It improves soil, it boosts microbial activity. It is amazing for your compost and for creating soil. I also have to clean out their feeders. So I take a scrubber because, especially in the summer months when it's hot and humid, we'll get some of the algae. So I like to clean out the containers and scrub them really well. I usually just use water and a scrubber, but sometimes I will even use a little bit of Dawn dish soap and just make sure they're super clean and their water is really clear. So I fill this up with water and these cups are nice and clean and they come over and drink out of these.
Yes, you guys need fresh food? Your water's all clean too. Oh, in your house. I came and cleaned your house too. We have to decorate for fall.
These are fantastic because these feeders hold up to 16 pounds of feed. So it's great if you have to leave for a few days because it's basically an automatic feeder. I would highly recommend them. I picked them up off of Amazon. I'm also replacing their feed. So I have this galvanized container with their feed, and that's where we put the extra feed, and we cover that up because feed can attract mice. So just making sure that we keep that nice and covered. And then I'm going to fill up their feeder with their feed. We also like to put red pepper in their feed sometimes, and that makes the egg yolks nice and dark. So I'm putting some feed in their feeder, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that in their coop and then cover that up. And then, yeah, their coop is pretty much all cleaned up and they're happy. I'm happy. I also like to put some fresh herbs like lemon balm inside the coop. It makes it smell good, and I know they like it, and it's a nice little added touch, especially if you grow herbs. You can use them in the chicken coop as well. We also have basil coming out of our ears, and today I'm harvesting the flowers, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later in this video because you can see there are seeds that we can also harvest for the future, for sharing. It's really exciting. I'm harvesting the potatoes, but I do have to trim back the vines and also do some weeding over here in this section of the garden as well. Similar to what I did with the tomatoes. So I'm coming over and doing that, cleaning up the garden, but also harvesting, and look how exciting it is it's almost like digging for gold when you pull out potatoes. Honestly, it's so exciting because you never know what you're gonna get. They're all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and it's really fun. It's really exciting. I love harvesting potatoes. Look at that. They look like organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that fascinating? Looks like
a kidney.
Yeah. Wild. They're like digging for gold. So exciting. Oh wait, there's a big one.
Yep. Yeah, so that one got stuck in the corner.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, he's really in there. Once I finish the outdoor chores, I come in and it's time to enjoy the harvest. So I have lots of flowers and lots of goodness from the garden, and I can start being creative and think of fun things to do with it. So I'm creating little bouquets for around the house. And by the way, I haven't introduced you yet to a new member of our family. This is Miso. We found Miso on a walk with our dogs, and he was in really bad shape. He was going into hypothermia. He was literally being eaten alive by maggots. We rushed him to the vet, and he's been with us for like several weeks now, and he's doing really, really well.
He's pretty cute.
And he loves to watch what we're doing around the house all the time. So quick little introduction to Miso. Also, I have to go out into the garage to grab our blackberry harvest, which this has been over the last several weeks during the summer. We have so many blackberries. Again, blackberries coming out of our ears that we have bags and bags and bags and bags of frozen blackberries, which means it's time to process them and, figure out what we're going to do with all of the blackberries. Because, of course, we do enjoy them fresh and share them, but there's only so much you can do with fresh blackberries before you can freeze them. And today I'm going to be making some jam. I didn't have enough sugar today to process all of the blackberries, so I did 1 bag, sugar, pectin, lemon juice, traditional jam recipe, and I'm just going to go ahead and jar this up and then continue to process all the blackberries until we're all the way through and we have lots of yummy jam. Next up, I'm gonna make some breakfast. It's always fun to get creative with garden to table recipes and use what we have growing in the garden to make delicious meals. We have basil, we have parsley, we have tons of peppers. So today I'm making a chimichurri sauce first, and then I'm gonna make some eggs with a hash using our potatoes from the garden and also our tomatoes. This dish turned out so good, and pretty much everything is from the garden. So I have some parsley, basil, garlic, and I have some of our peppers. I'm gonna add some lemon juice and some olive oil to make this beautiful chimichurri sauce. This flavor combination was insane and really just proves how amazing a garden to table meal can really be, and so rewarding. So it was so good. Now it's time for the second phase of the weekend homemaking, which is the indoor goals and projects. So I'm cleaning the windows. I usually try to focus on an area or organizing 2 to 3 spaces per weekend, and then just like the general cleaning. So today I'm focusing on the windows. Of course, little Miso is following me around, so I have to pick him up. I have to be extra careful too, because he's always like right under my feet. But yeah, just gonna do my deep cleaning of the windows, which I usually do in the early spring, late summer. I usually do this seasonally, the sort of deep cleaning, because I like to vacuum and clean the windows, and then just clean all of the edges of the house, and then do my normal laundry and everything else that needed to be done over the weekend. But yeah, this is sort of the one thing I'm gonna touch on today that I like to do seasonally.
Oh man, he's cute.
One area that I definitely wanted to tackle was underneath the kitchen sink. I bought a mat from Amazon. I'm actually gonna have to cut into it a little bit so it fits perfectly behind or around the pipes. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to get to that a little bit later because I have to measure everything. But I'm going to go ahead and put it down, and then it's just going to be a little bit easier to clean this way because it does get sort of hard to maintain under here. And then I'm also going to get a few little plastic bins, but for now I'm just putting everything back and getting started with this little organization project. And then I'm going to wrap up today's harvest by hanging up and drying some of the basil flowers so that I can harvest those seeds. I'm also going to save some of the basil flowers. My husband's going to use them for some of his recipes. My husband's a chef. You can find his recipes on Instagram, TikTok, and also he is a bestseller on Substack. But I knew that these would be good for him to use as well. But you have to use them pretty quickly. But saving them if you have them is great. You can use those, and then also I can dry the flowers and save the seeds for the future as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang these up, and then I'm gonna use the leftover basil that I have and make some basil lemon water and enjoy that. Having a garden this time of year can be so rewarding in so many different ways. Just enjoying what we're harvesting and making use of it and enjoying that entire process along the way. So this is an example of some summer homemaking, which is really revolved around the garden this season. It changes up a little bit in the fall and winter, but definitely something I like to share this time of the year. And I'm gonna make some yummy lemon basil water, which is delish. And then I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me for some summertime homemaking, and I'll see you in the next video.